What's up, friends? Welcome into Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. Daniel Courtwright alongside a much younger Sean Kellerman. No, I've made that joke like 3 times, by the way. It's Shreyas Laddha. He's going to join me for the first segment of the show. Shreyas Laddha from the Kansas City Star. We'll get to Shreyas in just a sec. I'll give you a rundown of what we got going on the show today. First, like I said, we're going to talk to Shreyas. A lot of KU basketball talk, a little bit of KU football talk, some breaking news coming out today. Kansas quarterback planning to enter the transfer portal. Really unfortunate. A lot of work to be done starting on January 2nd, whenever the portal winds up opening. After that, going to be doing some college football game picks. The CFP kicks off tonight. OU takes on Alabama. OU, if you remember, went down to Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama. John Mateer had like 130 yards in that game, and they still wind up beating Alabama. So a little bit of a revenge game maybe for Alabama. I'll get some game picks throughout the entire first week of college football playoffs, and then I'll get some college basketball game picks as well. A couple of marquee matchups. We're still in the non-conference, so a lot of G5 or mid-major teams still playing, but still some really good games going on in the world of college basketball. After that, I was joined yesterday by Tyshawn Taylor, legend of Kansas basketball. He joined me on the show, kind of went through, what he thinks about Melvin Council, what he thinks about this year. A lot of NBA talk, throughout his years in the NBA. A couple of years in the NBA he spent with Paul Pierce and Chris Humphries, Kim Kardashian's ex-husband. So I managed to ask him about that. I had a female friend of mine say, "You got to ask him about Chris Humphries." I was like, "All right, fine. I'll ask him." So it was really, really great conversation with Tyshawn. Really fun. He also has the Time Out with Tyshawn Taylor podcast on Kansas Nation. So be sure to check that out. Everywhere you get your podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast, Time Out with Tyshawn Taylor. After that, 5 o'clock on a Friday, ding, 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 ding. It is the sports stock market where I tell you what stocks are up and what stocks are down in the world of sports. After that, going to be doing a KU women's basketball versus Iowa State preview. They're taking on the number 1 scorer in the nation, Audie Crooks. She is a monster down low. Hopefully, Julia's back. We'll certainly see. And then NFL game picks going to roll you through the entire NFL slate. Maybe talk a little bit of incentives. I got some prop bets in terms of there's always, we're at the time of the year where it's like this guy needs like 5 receptions to get $1 million, and so they're forcing it. So I got a couple of those in there. But first, I want to talk to Shreyas Laddha from the Kansas City Star. Shreyas, appreciate you coming on the show every Friday, man. First things first, haven't talked to you since Saturday, and people might be tired of me talking about it. I don't care. I'm going to talk about it. The Melvin Council Jr. legacy game against NC State, 9 threes, 36 points, 5th highest scoring performance out of a Jayhawk in the Bill Self era, 2nd most threes made in a game by any Jayhawk of all time. And we were talking off air, actually. It was after the Towson game, joking with Henry. Henry was joking that he has a lead that says, when Melvin Council said he was the leader of this program, everyone kind of laughed. And little did we know, it's happening, right? Nobody knew that this is not what we expected out of Melvin Council Jr. What have you seen out of his growth so far in terms of his leadership and kind of stepping up into that role after the whole Darren Peterson injury saga, if you will?
It's clear that this team really likes Melvin Council. You can see it at every press conference. The guys start barking. They talk about how much of an emotional leader he is. I mean, Bill Self talked about it, right? He's the emotional leader of this team. And it's clear that they have respect for him because he's a veteran presence. And he works his tail off on every possession, every play out there on the court. There's a reason why fans love him. I've been really impressed with him and what he's brought to the team. I think him and Trey White have been the 2 best portal pickups they've had
for sure
this offseason. And they've been, great around Darren when he plays, but even without him, they're the ones who have stepped up day in, day out to give Kansas the chance to win every single game they played, basically. I was impressed on Saturday against NC State. To be honest with you, I didn't really understand the strategy by Will Wade there. He was
18% from 3. Let him shoot, and then but then they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't really change.
To let him.
Yeah, my thing is like if you're giving a guy who shoots he's a 27% career shooter from 3, wide open 3-pointers. It's basically like practice shots. So if we look at that, basically give him practice shots. Even in practice, I'm guessing he's shooting 60% on wide open 3-pointers. Let's just say that. So to me, him going off like that, not necessarily surprising. It just looked like a stupid strategy on Will Wade's part, and it felt like by the time he adjusted, it was just too little, too late. And especially when Darren Peterson left, I don't understand why the strategy would still give Melvin Council open 3-pointers. Right. Nobody on Kansas can score outside of Darren Peterson on its own. So if you're giving Melvin Council open 3-pointers, you're just digging your own grave, because at this point you're just praying he's not going to make it. But he's made 8 threes at that point, so why give him more?
Yeah, sure.
But just a weird strategy. Credit to Melvin for making them. Credit to Melvin for having a career game. Who could have seen the guy that has the most points scored in a game this year is not Darren Peterson, but Melvin Council.
Yeah. He would have been like 5th on my list, maybe like 6th on my list of like leading scorers.
I mean, he's just not an offensive superstar.
Yeah.
That's Darren Peterson. Then you have a guy like Trey White who could go off, Laurie. Then you probably go like Cole Rosario if he gets hot. And then maybe you'd say Melvin Council, the 5th spot right there. So credit to him, credit to Kansas for believing. I mean, Bill Self has told him, shoot the ball when you get the opportunity. And Melvin has definitely not been shy about taking his shots throughout this year. So I respect that.
Yeah, 100%, right? And, we're continuing that. We're continuing to see it, especially, right? I mean, in the Towson game, he still shot 50% from 3, 100%. Went 3 for 6. So really impressive stuff out of Melvin Council being able to step up in the absence of Darren Peterson. Something else I noticed in that NC State game was, it was overshadowed by Melvin Council, but the offense was super stale and not a lot of stuff was going on. And one person I wanted to talk to you in particular about is Bryson Tiller. How are you, because it feels like there's been a little bit of a regression, if you will, right? He started off super hot and everybody's like, oh man, totally forgot this guy was even on the squad because he came in early and sat the bench and redshirted or whatever, is dealing with an injury. And then, hit a couple of big threes, had a couple of monster games early. And then he went 7 games without hitting a 3 until the Towson game. NC State, he had 2 points, 4 rebounds. You can't do that if you're a 6'10" power forward. What are you seeing about of him? And I guess, do you think that this 2-game stretch between Towson and Davidson is enough for him to kind of build that confidence back up heading into conference play?
Well, I mean, I think there's a little bit of that freshman wall. A lot of these guys hit it, right? I think Bryson's hitting that freshman wall, and how you respond to hitting that freshman wall is going to be key as Kansas enters, conference play. I think there's an opportunity for Bryson to build off of these 2 games. The question is, it's such a long stretch between games. I don't know how much feel you might have of if he has a good game against Davidson and he had a decent game against Towson. Can you really build off that? Because there's a 10-day stretch in between games. So it's is that going to affect him at all because he's not as hot or as fresh really coming off a game? He's not in his game legs. It's too early to say in that sense. But I think with this Kansas squad, there's a lot of young players, and everyone kind of goes through different lulls where they're just not as effective as they should be. And I think that's normal. I mean, we saw it with Flory until this past game. He hadn't broken 13 points since the Notre Dame game. Yeah. He just wasn't a great offensive option for a long time. He wasn't looking for a shot. He wasn't aggressive. Now he finally, it seems like that was a thing where he talked about it. In the first 5 minutes, they talked about getting to 10. And it seemed like he made an effort to make a aggressive scoring push. And I think that's the version of Flory that Kansas needs. But it's the same thing with Bryson Tiller. He's got to look for his shot, but also he can't, if his shot's not falling, he needs to go do the other things. He needs to rebound. He needs to play good defense. He needs to be out there, doing the things that give him an opportunity to start. That's why he's starting, right? That's his defense is a big reason why. So go play good defense. Do something on offense besides just scoring. Go get the rebounds. That's why you're 6'10", man. That's the stuff that matters. Until your shot comes back, go do things that you should be already doing day in, day out.
Yeah, 100%. Shreyas Laddha from the Kansas City Star joins the show. One more player I wanted to ask you about before we get into, probably the story of the season is Darren Peterson. But I wanted to ask you about Cole Rosario because he kind of fascinates me. The running joke was, everybody was talking about Cole Rosario, but what everyone was talking about is how nobody's talking about Cole Rosario. And so by turn, everybody was talking about him. And he started, and you could just tell the game was too fast for him. And now he's sitting on the bench and getting 5 to 7 minutes a game-ish, roughly around there. Do you see his role potentially getting I guess, more inclusive throughout the year, right? Because kind of like with Bryson, right? These last 2 games with Towson and Davidson, I liked his minutes that he played against Towson. Davidson, you're probably going to anticipate some more Cole Rosario minutes. Then you get UCF. You're right in the heart of a Big 12 play. Do you see his role getting more so, or do you see him kind of fitting in this role that he's in right now where he's a spark plug coming off the bench getting about 7 minutes a game?
Well, I mean, until he hits shots, there's no reason to put him out there because everything else is redundant skill-wise.
Sure.
Like, what does Cole Rosario offer that Elmarco Jackson doesn't offer if he's not hitting shots? Elmarco's defense is better than Cole's.
Probably got a higher vertical.
He's higher vertical, maybe. But, like, I mean, I just don't really see a real reason for Cole Rosario to be out there if he's not hitting shots. Like, that's the thing. Like, somebody asked me that, like, with Jaden Dawson and Cole Rosario, like, are you out on them? I'm not out on them, but the clock is ticking, right? Like, if you're only playing 7 minutes a game, you go from starting to 7 minutes a game, that's a pretty big, drastic drop-off.
Yeah.
But that also tells me you're right now on Bill Self's I don't trust you list. And if you're on Bill Self's I don't trust you list, the only way you can get out of that is giving them something that nobody else can do. So with this Kansas team, what do you need? You need shooting. So until Cole Rosario starts making threes, he's shooting 25% from the year, and Jaden Dawson is not even hitting 25% either. The 2 guys who were supposed to be the shooters on this team have not given them that. Then you have to ask yourself, why would I put them out there? Because they're not great defenders. Cole Rosario's best attribute outside of his shooting is he's got a great vertical, and he can go get offensive rebounds and hustle. Cool. But Elmarco Jackson and Jamar McDowell do the exact same thing too.
Right.
And those guys actually give, Elmarco's a ball handler. Jamari can shoot the ball. Yeah. There's a reason why they're playing more minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Wanted to ask you about the Darren Peterson injury saga. Obviously, it was the hamstring first, and then the stomach bug, and then more hamstring, and then hamstring's been good, but all of a sudden we're dealing with quad cramping issues, and, Bill Self has said that they've reached out to doctors from Harvard and Oxford and different places like this to try to figure it out. What's your overall take on this? Because I've said this with Henry. I've said this with Brian Haney on the show. We spend a lot of time around these guys, and we know this isn't a situation where he's, quote, some Kansas fans, stealing money, right? He wants to go out there and play. He just can't because of these, injury issues. Injuries happen, right? So your overall take on this, and I guess in your medical experience, which is probably none, what's your preferred timeline in terms of when he gets back?
Well, I mean, I think this overall experience has been frustrating for everyone involved, right?
Yeah.
Like, Bill's talked about it. He wants to be out there in the court. You can see a little bit of frustration from Bill having to answer questions from me and Matt Tate and everybody else after that press conference. Like, I'm sure he doesn't want to be doing that.
Of course.
But that's our job. And I'm tired of writing about it. Like, let's be honest. Like, I'd much rather write about how Darren Peterson looks good on the basketball court versus this is what I've heard. This is his history about cramps. This is his history of injuries. Like, he's played 4 games out of 12, okay? Like, we're 1/3 of the way through the season, and he's played 22 minutes at Allen Fieldhouse this year. 22 minutes.
Yeah.
I like, to me, it's just an asinine thing that we're still discussing this thing. And I wish the transparency was a little better from the beginning of the year. But it feels like Bill's getting a little more fed up and a little more transparent with every press conference. I think they need to figure it out. I don't know what they're going to do. Hopefully they figure it out sooner rather than later. I doubt he plays Monday. Just doesn't make sense. And you hope he has that 10, 11-day gap between games and he comes back and plays the UCF game. And to me, if he's not ready for the UCF game, and I don't mean to be hyperbolic, like, what are we doing? Like, maybe it's time to think about shutting him down.
Sure.
I think I've talked to a lot of different draft guys that I trust, and nobody really cares about this hamstring injury or the
Josh Stock's not tanking.
Like,
right?
He's still number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Like
the farthest he can drop is like 2.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. It's him or DeMonte. Yeah, it's
yeah.
only him or DeMonte. Like, nobody to me, like, everyone I talk to, they're like, hey, it doesn't matter to us.
Yeah.
I think clearly, like, the incentive for Darren Peterson to get out there is he wants to have a legacy at Kansas in his 1 year that he's here, and he's getting paid X amount of money, and, like, his teammates need him out there. He wants to be out there. Bill Self wants him out there. But NBA draft stock-wise, it has not affected him whatsoever.
Sure.
And I don't think it will. I mean, like, let's talk about it. He's been 70, 80% the entire year, and he's averaging 19 a game. Yeah. Imagine when he's 100%. This guy should probably be averaging, like, 23, 24.
Yeah.
Like, he's really, really good. And he has the skills that are going to translate immediately to the NBA. There's a reason why he's better than a lot of guys that maybe have better stats, like Cameron Boozer, people talk about. But the skills just don't translate as well as Peterson does. Or DeBonza, him and Peterson are the two guys who are vying for number one, I feel like, right now. And Peterson is barely playing any games. That's nuts to me. But this is what I'm saying. Like, we, as a collective, as somebody who likes watching good basketball, but also wants to watch a generational talent, Kansas has got to figure out what is the stopping point of, like, this entire saga. Because you can't have him come back, play 2 games, and then he has another hamstring thing or another cramping thing, because it's just too herky-jerky to put him in and out of lineup. You can't mesh with the team overall like that. Bill said it's difficult for him to do it. It's difficult for the team to do it. And the closer and closer they get to March, especially if Darren is not back by January 3rd, it becomes tougher and tougher to justify, playing him big minutes, because this team is just going to look like a different team without him, because they've had to learn to play without him for so long.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, certainly makes sense. It's unfortunate, and it's frustrating for everybody. And Bill Self has said that. Darren Peterson said that. So, and certainly a lot of the fans have said that as well. Shreyas Laddha from the Kansas City Star joins the show. Shreyas, I want to flip it over to football, as I want to talk about a little bit of transfer portal, but as we know, Kansas was 5-7 this year, and after a number of different teams declined a bowl game, Kansas was also on that list, down the list of teams who declined a bowl game. And, I'm sort of talking myself into understanding why, but it's still, as a Kansas fan, it still stinks, because you want to see this a Kansas football team play in a bowl game and a chance for Jalen to win a bowl game, right? It just makes sense. But Kansas wound up declining it. Your thoughts in terms of, Kansas declining a bowl game?
A couple different thoughts. Selfishly, I was happy they declined the Birmingham Bowl. I had no interest in being in Birmingham watching them play Georgia Southern as a Georgia
It's beautiful
guy.
This time of year. What do you mean?
Well,
Magnolia trees?
My brother's 19. He goes to UAB, and he's miserable. In the sense, he has a great time going out, but that's all they do is go out, right?
Yeah.
But so selfishly, I wasn't mad about that. But objectively looking at the situation, to me, I think it's a little embarrassing that Kansas said no to a bowl game. Lance Leipold, since he came to this program, has talked about the virtue of being in a bowl game, what it does for recruiting, what it does for the brand. Kansas, historically, I think, has made 13, maybe 14 bowl games all year, or all time, or something like that.
Sounds right.
Might be even lower than that.
Yeah.
And for you to act like you're Auburn or Florida State, that some of the teams that turn it down, to me was a little ridiculous. Take what you can get. Yeah, I know the players were probably dispersed. That's what I've heard. And I know it's probably a financial loss for Kansas, like a lot of bowl games are. That's another thing I heard from some people talking to it. That's a potential reason why they might have said no. But, if this is the same Kansas team that says yes to playing in London because it's going to build the brand, why wouldn't you go to a bowl game?
Sure.
Let Jalen Daniels.
It's also a 6-figure payout, too.
Let Jalen Daniels play a good last game against probably a mediocre team that he would put up a bunch of yards and touchdowns against.
Yeah.
The more and more I think about it, I think initially I understood where Lance and co were coming from. The more and more I think about it, though, I just think it was the wrong move.
Sure.
I think they should have said yes to the bowl game, because this is Kansas. This is not Georgia. This is not Alabama. You have to think about the fact that every single opportunity to get exposure is another opportunity to build a brand. If you're saying yes to go play ASU in London next year, you might as well say yes to go to Birmingham, play Georgia Southern, where you're going to roll over them.
Sure.
Even without, Jalen playing. And on top of that, the extra practices are only going to be good for next year's team.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly makes sense, right? I mean, especially – you have 33 seniors. I'm willing to bet 32 of them are already out of the state.
Probably.
You know what I mean? So, when you look at that and, logistically, getting all the equipment staff back, and I mean, they've already turned all their stuff in. Mm-hmm. They don't have shoulder pads or helmets right now. So, logistically, it's kind of a nightmare. But at the same time, like you said, bowl games are not often come by here at Kansas. Even if you feel like you don't deserve it, even if you don't have a lot of guys out there, it's still good to get those reps. Absolutely. Because that's another, couple of weeks of practice that you're able to get before the spring ball starts, and it's more of an evaluation period. But, to each their own. I'm I have my own opinions on it, but again, it kind of depends on which side of the bed I wake up in the morning.
Where do you stand on it right now?
I'm annoyed, but also like I understand. Like I said,
I understand where they're coming from.
I understand logistically, like it totally makes sense. But also, it's like give Kansas fans something to be excited about instead of just being like, yeah, we're done. You know what I mean? And just hey, wait till next year. It's like, well, all of this build up, and it's just another opportunity to see Kansas football.
Can I say this? I think by them declining the bowl game, it was an acknowledgement that this year was a massive failure.
Sure. I mean,
yeah.
Henry said the word closure too yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's a good word. Henry's 100% right in that sense. I think it gives the sense of like this year, this tenure, this era of Jalen Daniels and all these seniors that are graduating has officially ended. And now everything's on Lance Leipold because we haven't seen him with the guys he's recruited like play significant roles.
Yeah.
The tenure of these are all Les's guys.
Yeah,
you know?
that's
like,
true.
The guys who turned around Kansas were all Les's guys. Now, this is the first year where the quarterback of the team is going to be a Lance Leipold disciple, as I call it.
Yeah.
Right? So by them saying no, it feels like the ending of that chapter, but also an acknowledgement that this year just didn't turn out the way anyone expected after a strong start to the year.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. One more football question for you, just kind of breaking down the transfer portal. And, look, here's the thing. It seems like Kansas is losing everybody and not getting anybody, and it's just because of the fact that Kansas cannot reach out to anybody until January 2nd.
100%.
There's a lot of guys who are intending to enter the portal, and Kansas can't contact anybody. They got Jabril Condi, but that's D2, and it's different rules, obviously. But the most recent one, most notable is probably Lyric Rawls and John Kamara. Most recent one, and maybe just as notable, David McComb, Kansas quarterback, intending to enter the portal. Your thoughts on that and the quarterback battle in that QB room next year? Because right now it's Isaiah Marshall and Cole Ballard, and David McComb's name was certainly thrown into that ring, and now not so much. So you got two guys right now who you're looking at to lead Kansas next year.
I think it's a brutal blow for Kansas. I've heard really great things about David from people around the program. They speak very highly of him. He's a very good kid. Every time I've talked to him, I've become very impressed with how smart and how introspective he is. His teammates really like him. I'd heard, like, the talent of David McComb is, like, to me, the ceiling when he's ready to start is higher than Isaiah Marshall or Cole Ballard. Like, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would have started next year, so maybe that's why he feels like there's an opportunity to start somewhere else. But I think if all played out, he would have been quarterback 2, because I presume whoever is not starting next year between Cole Ballard, Isaiah Marshall, and theoretically if they bring in a transfer quarterback now, because they probably will, would probably transfer out. I think one of Cole or Isaiah would transfer out. And I think right now the future of the program, like that to me, Dave McComb was the future quarterback. Like whether it was Cole Ballard, Isaiah Marshall, I always felt there was a 1-2 year solution. Cole Ballard has 1 year left of eligibility,
I think
I think Isaiah has another year after that, or does he?
Yeah, Isaiah has.
He's 2.
Yeah, I think he has 2
because he
redshirted
3
3
right?
more years.
Okay,
so he might have 3. I think because he redshirted.
Yeah. But to me, I thought it was just I was a little shocked. Like I saw the news right when I was walking in here. I thought it was a brutal blow. And I think Kansas is going to have to figure out now who they're going to pick up from the transfer portal, because you can't just have 2 quarterbacks in this battle.
Yeah, no, I mean, it certainly makes sense. And, I think looking at Kansas before David McComb decided to enter the transfer portal, it was kind of a coin flip in terms of whether or not they'd get a transfer quarterback. Now it's almost like, we need a transfer quarterback,
Absolutely.
like somebody else to kind of fill that, and a veteran presence or whatever it may be. Really unfortunate. Shreyas, I got one more question. It's not KU related. It's in regards to the CFP, because you're a proud Georgia alum and you're a SEC truther. I know you have an SEC tattoo across your chest.
I do. It just means more.
You came in saying, I think the CFP should be all SEC teams. He said that. I swear.
I did not.
I was off camera. He said it. He said a lot of mean things about these G5 schools. No, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of just. There's a lot. I'll get more into it in sports stock market later in the day. But Joel Klatt and Kirk Herbstreit and Nick Saban and all these people are saying, oh, we don't want Cinderella teams. Like, who cares about JMU and Tulane? We want all the powerhouse big boys. And from a guy who comes from Georgia, and we've talked a little bit about it, does not share those same sentiments.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on kind of those comments from those national media guys talking poorly about the underdogs, the guys that we want to win.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I think those people are speaking from just like a money-minded mindset. If the only thing that matters in college football and college basketball is money, then why are we even like? Why does it matter? Like, why does anything matter? Let's just have BCS rankings back and just have a computer do it with no face value around people's thinking and thoughts or whatsoever, and let the numbers decide it. Like, who cares?
Sure.
Like, let's not declare a national champion. Let's not play the games anymore.
To
me,
let the AP writers
let the AP
decide
let the Henry Greensteins of the world like Henry. I want Henry to decide who my championship is.
Yes.
If that's all that matters.
I would trust
now.
him with my life, by the way.
I would
trust him to
I would
pick
trust
a right
Henry than a
national
lot more than these guys. Like
even though he's relatively low on the list of
Hey, when Henry gets hate mail, it's under my burner accounts. So you have to keep him humble sometimes.
Of course.
Sometimes I'm the BYU fans, sometimes the Utah fans. It just depends on who he's ranking.
You get a lot of different emails attached to a lot of different Twitter
Yeah,
accounts.
absolutely. It's whatever I need this week based on what I think he's snubbed. But just going to it, I think it's ridiculous. I think underdogs make sports so much more fun, whether it's in college basketball or college football. I think the way these people think about sports to me is just like, what's the point of you even watching a single game outside of SEC football or Big Ten football then?
Yeah.
Because you clearly do not care about growing the game. The game should be grown. I think it's really cool when a program that comes out of nowhere has a special season, a 1 in a million season. I mean, like a few years ago, that was TCU. Yeah, got their butt whooped by Georgia.
Yeah.
But TCU made a national championship.
Yeah.
In a
they
year,
beat Michigan. People forget that.
Yeah, they beat Michigan.
They were good.
In a year where no one thought they'd get that far.
Yeah.
It was special. It was very special. And yeah, they didn't win it, but that year has propelled that program forward in the sense of NIL spending, and interest in the school, just overall brand exposure. Not every team is going to be the Georgia or Alabama or the Ohio States of the world, and that's okay. I think we should reward the James Madisons, the Dukes, like the teams like that who have one really good year, and maybe they're never going to reach that peak again, but we should celebrate them. And I think it's really cool when they, even if they get their butts whooped in the college football playoffs, just getting there should be a big deal.
It's an honor. Absolutely, it's an honor. You think UGA can do it, by the way?
I don't know. I think I think it's.
I know you're a journalist. You're supposed to be non-biased or whatever.
I mean,
you're a UG. You're
absolutely.
You're a bulldog
absolutely.
at heart.
I'm a bulldog at heart. I think I like their draw. My thinking it's either them, Tech, or Ohio State. One of the three.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if it's a hot take, but it's not really a hot take.
No,
but I think it's one of those three. I think it just depends on how Gunner looks and how the defense holds up against some of these quarterbacks.
Fair enough. Well, first round of the CFP starts today, actually. OU takes on Alabama. Shreyas Laddha from the Kansas City Star. Always appreciate you coming on, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, for sure. Have a happy holidays, by the way.
You too.
Yeah,
I'm
not going to talk to you until afterwards. So.
Oh, dang. I'll see you for a little bit.
You got any holiday plans?
Just going back to Atlanta.
Nice.
We'll spend some time with friends, family. Will be fun. Just excited to kind of be back home for an extended period of time. I feel like usually I don't get that much time during this break.
Sure.
So I'll be back the 23rd through the 3rd, and I'm going straight from there to the UCF game.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to get a little bit of a stretch. So let all the media members kind of enjoy their holidays.
Absolutely.
Well, Shreyas, I appreciate you coming on the show every Friday. Hey, after this, we got CFP and college basketball game picks on Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, and ESPN Kansas City.
What's up, everybody? Dan Peterson. Everybody go check out KansasNation.com.
Welcome back into Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. Daniel Courtwright here, and college football playoffs. It's finally here. It's going to be going on tonight. Alabama takes on Oklahoma in Norman, by the way. I'm going to do some game picks. I'm going to roll through the entire slate of week 1 for the college football playoffs. There's 4 games. You got Alabama. They're plus 1.5 at OU. And I have some interesting stats. I'll go farther in depth with this one just because this is the game that's going on tonight. But Alabama and OU, they've already faced off this year, right? And OU went into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama 23-21. John Mateer, 15 of 23 for 138 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He did have a rushing touchdown, which I think is important to note, but OU's defense really was able to step it up and make some key plays. They had an 87-yard touchdown return interception. Ty Simpson on the flip side of this, he went 28 of 42. He had 326, a touchdown and a pick. The pick was a pick six. Daniel Hill, the running back, had 2 touchdowns, 60 yards, 15 carries. The receiver core, Josh Cuevas, he had 6 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown. In my mind, this isn't Alabama supremacy, and this isn't hatred for OU for leaving the Big 12. There's no way Alabama loses this game because OU had a couple of really lucky breaks go their way in this game, right? They had 1 rushing touchdown. All the rest of their scores it was a pick 6 and then a couple of field goals. 3 field goals in this game, to be exact. That's how they beat them 23-21. That was an 11 versus 4 game. For this game today, this is the 9 versus 8 game. There's just no possible way. Again, it's in Norman, so OU is going to have a ruckus crowd. The Memorial Stadium is going to be packed to the gills. I just don't see a way that Alabama loses this. I think Ty Simpson is just too good. Now, granted, you look at the last game that Alabama played, in the SEC championship against Georgia, they got killed. They got absolutely destroyed by Georgia. Their offense couldn't get anything going. You think Kalen DeBoer and Ty Simpson and Daniel Hill and a lot of these guys don't have that in the back of their minds of, hey, last time we went out as a football team, we threw up a stinker. And then last time we played against OU, they came into our house and beat us on some fluky stuff while their quarterback only had 136 yards. That's just not going to happen, right? So I think Ty Simpson just goes absolutely insane in this game. I like Alabama on this line. Like I said, Alabama right now, they're plus 1.5. Give me money line on this. I'm not even going to take the point. I don't even know if that's – I need Sean here to remind me on when to take the point and when to push the point away. Let me think about this. I can do this. Andy Flower is going to be so pissed at me. So they're plus 1.5. So if they lose by 1, I don't care. Whatever. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try to do the mental gymnastics. I'm going to go money line here because Alabama, like I said, there's no way that they lose this game. There's absolutely no way they lose this game. Unless there's another 87-yard pick 6 and OU's defense has continued to figure them out. I just think Alabama has too much to lose. Kalen DeBoer specifically has too much to lose. So there's no way. Now, granted, also OU is on a 2-game winning streak against Alabama. All time, they're 5-1 against Alabama. It's absolutely insane to me that OU has beaten Alabama 5 times out of the 6 times that they've played in the history of the two schools. So I like Alabama on this. Like I said, money line. The next game is going to be at 11 o'clock on Saturday. That's going to be Miami. They're plus 3 at Texas A&M. I really like Miami on this line. I don't know if I like them to win. That's the crazy thing. This game is going to be incredibly close. Texas A&M has a stellar offense. I like Mike Elko a lot. Miami is a really good program, right? I think 3 is the perfect number. And again, if they lose by a field goal, then that's a push. So that's why I don't like the fact that there's a half. If it was 2.5, I think that I would take Texas A&M. If it was 3.5, I think I would take Miami. I just see Miami losing this game by 3 points. It's in College Station, 12th man, ridiculous environment. I hate Texas A&M, but I think Texas A&M does win this by a touchdown. So the line really does confuse me a little bit on this. If I were just to flip a coin, actually, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to flip the MIAA flipping coin. Give me Miami on the plus 3. I think Texas A&M does win this game, though. Ole Miss, they're taking on Tulane. They are a 17.5-point favorite. It's at Wait, no, it's not at Tulane, is it? I probably should know this. This game is going to be This is annoying. Wherever it is, I don't care. I like Tulane. I like Willie Fritz. Not Willie Fritz. Whoever their coach is right now. I think Tulane is going to cover this spread just because Ole Miss, they're kind of in a weird way right now. I think it would be kind of poetic justice if Ole Miss were to win this game. I think that when you look at it with the Lane Kiffin saga and him waiting so long to determine where he's going to be coaching, and he winds up taking the LSU job for a ton of money, and they bump up their defensive coordinator, I think it'd be poetic if they were to win. But I think a lot of the Ole Miss players are a little displeased in terms of the way that this thing has all kind of shaken out. And I think they're going to be a little rattled, right? This is going to be the first game that they play without Lane Kiffin as their head coach. Now, a lot of them do like this Golden guy, the guy with the crazy spiky gray hair. They're buying in to what he's doing. He's a very different coach. I think he's more of a football guy than Lane Kiffin was, right? He's not doing hot yoga, and he's not like going on Twitter with his dog talking trash, right? So they're buying in, but they're still going to be a little rattled. I love Tulane on this line. 17.5. That's such a big line, and I think the sports books are not respecting Tulane the way that they should be respected. And this goes into what we've talked about with Kirk Herbstreit, with guys like Joel Klatt, with guys like Nick Saban, them saying that they don't even deserve to be in it, even though they won their conference championship, and the way that it's set up is for these group of 5 teams to get in there and try to create an upset. So I really, really like Tulane on this line. Speaking of that, probably the biggest one that people are upset about, James Madison at Oregon. It's 20.5-point dogs. I mean, I'm going to be rooting. This is going to be one of the very few times I'm going to be rooting for a team with purple in it. I'm going to be personally rooting for James Madison to win this game against Oregon. And if you don't think that they hear the talk going on about how there's no reason they deserve to be in, Notre Dame should be in, why is JMU there, they're just going to get blown out by Oregon, they're listening to this stuff, and they've got a good program, right? Their defense is good. They deserve to be in this. Now, Oregon's really good, right? Dante Moore, fantastic quarterback, right? Their offensive attack is really great. Dan Lanning is an excellent coach. It's in their house. They got JMU coming around. I'm thinking Oregon's probably looking over JMU a little bit too, because they're hearing this stuff. They're hearing that JMU does not deserve to be in the college football playoff. So they're looking forward. They're looking ahead, because what's their next game? After that, they're going to be playing Texas Tech, who has a bye. The winner of this game is going to be playing Texas Tech. They're probably looking towards Texas Tech. They're probably not even looking at JMU. I think JMU is going to give them a run for their money. Don't be shocked. There's going to be an upset. There is going to be an upset. Now, technically, Alabama over OU is an upset. I'm not considering that. I'm saying Tulane could beat Ole Miss, and JMU could beat Oregon. You catch them on a bad day. You get a couple lucky breaks go your way. JMU could be walking into the second round, shocking the world. Tulane could be walking into the second round, shocking the world. Now, what's the most likely one? Probably Tulane over Ole Miss, just because of what I said about the head coaching thing with Lane Kiffin leaving and the guys playing underneath a new head coach. I get it. So Tulane's probably the more likely one. Like I said, I love Tulane on that line, 17.5. I do like James Madison on this 20.5. I think this game could potentially be a touchdown away, and people are going to start looking at James Madison a little differently. Now, if you're Kirk Herbstreit and JMU loses by a touchdown to Oregon, you're still going to say, oh, see, they got beat by Oregon. They don't deserve to be in there. Nah. Whatever. I don't care. I'm going to get more into this in sports stock market. I have a big rant that I want to get into. So that's my college football game picks for the college football playoff. College basketball, there's, some marquee matchups, at least for this weekend, starting with some of the games on Saturday. St. John's is ranked number 22. They're minus 2.5 at Kentucky. Kentucky's unranked right now. Over-under's 156.5. I really like St. John's on this line. I understand it's in Lexington, but at the same time, Rick Pitino's a good coach, and Zuby Ejiofor's been awesome. They've got a lot of really good players in the St. John's program. St. John's is the better team than Kentucky. And you're going into Rupp Arena. I think that they're going to beat them. I can see this being an 8, 9, 10-point victory for St. John's. I like St. John's on this line. Arkansas, they're a 4.5-point dog. They're ranked number 14 at Houston. Over-under's 143.5. Low line. I think it's going to be lower, man. I'm not going to touch the line. I do think Houston is probably 4.5 points better than Arkansas, but Houston, we've seen them struggle at times, right? With JoJo Tugler, he's been really good on the defensive end of the ball, but Houston just hasn't been the same Houston. I still think their defensive identity is there. That's why I think the under is really going to hit, because I don't think Arkansas has that many prolific scorers, if you will. So give me the under 143.5. Not going to touch the line. I think the line is pretty good where it sits right now. Number 6, Purdue is a 9.5-point favorite at number 21. Auburn, 154.5. Auburn's an interesting story. Obviously, Bruce Pearl retiring before the season, and they've done a really good job in terms of rallying behind their interim head coach. I don't like Purdue in this game at all. Purdue got their teeth kicked in by Iowa State a few weeks ago. Purdue's not, because they were number 1 team in the nation, Purdue's not invincible anymore. Braden Smith's fantastic. They have a lot of really good pieces, right? Matt Painter's a fantastic coach. I think going down to SEC country for Purdue, I think it's going to be trouble. I like Auburn on this money line. So they're 9.5-point dogs. I think they're going to win this one at home. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for the Auburn Tigers. And then number 19, Texas Tech is an 8.5-point dog at number 3, Duke, over under 150.5. Texas Tech has not looked like Texas Tech should have been, right? We're seeing them struggle. We saw them struggle against Lipscomb on, Tuesday? I just don't see it. I think that Duke, because we've seen Duke already, I think Duke matches up better with every other team in the country, right? Cam Boozer is so good, right? They have a lot of really good guards, a lot of really good people down low, really good pieces down low. I think Duke rolls away with this one. It's an 8.5-point line. It's a big line, but it's at Cameron Indoor, and Texas Tech has really been struggling, especially coming after a really bad performance, poor performance, facing off against Lipscomb, or no, it was UNC. Whoever it was. I think it was Lipscomb. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So give me Duke on that minus 9.5. They're going to blow the doors off of the Red Raiders. That's my CFP and college basketball game picks for today. After this, going to be talking to Tyshawn Taylor. As he was sitting right here at the desk. I recorded it with him yesterday. Really, really fun interview, not meant for children's ears, but really excited that Tyshawn was able to join me on the show. That's coming up after this on Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, and ESPN Kansas City.
I'm Justice Finkley. You're watching KansasNation.com, Rock Chalk.
Welcome back into Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. Right now joined by a very special guest. You may know him from the Timeout with Tyshawn Taylor podcast. You also may know him from his illustrious career with the Kansas Jayhawks, probably more so with that as Tyshawn Taylor. Man, appreciate you coming on the show. How you been?
I'm good, man. I appreciate that little podcast shout out right there.
Yeah, man. Got to promote the product. Yeah, obviously.
Sure. Appreciate that.
I wanted to start off with a little KU basketball talk. I know you're pretty much at all the games. At least you watch all the games,
Definitely
and you and obviously before the season, you had Melvin Council Jr. on the Timeout with Tyshawn Taylor podcast. Where did this come from? I mean, he came in to the NC State game shooting 18.5% from the three-point line. All of a sudden, he has a second-best three-point shooting game out of any Jayhawk in a single game in history. I guess, I mean, you know him a little bit more than I do, but he's getting a lot of comparisons to you back when you were playing. What do you think about his game so far?
I think the comparisons, now that I've watched him a lot, are I understand it, one. And two, he's a dog. He's a competitor. And I don't think that shooting percentage prior to NC State was a true representation of how he shoots the basketball. I think that was part of just kind of still figuring out who he is on his team, like what's his role on his team. And I think as DP kind of enters and exits the lineups, Melvin kind of gets a little bit more confidence with just being able to play his game. He's a 1,000-point scorer. He played 4 years of college basketball already. So I'm not surprised that he's competing hard, playing hard, for the most part, trying to play the right way, unselfish. Yeah, man, I'm impressed. Like I said this on my podcast not long ago, but I'm just impressed with how he's playing a lot.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed.
For sure. I mean, he's a fan favorite. Obviously, he's got that dog persona too,
Yeah,
which I
sure.
absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Big 12 plays coming up. I was curious to know your thoughts on this because the Big 12 is not even the Big 12 anymore, at least compared to like when you were in college and when I was a kid.
I don't know all the teams in the Big 12 right now.
That's the absolutely crazy thing is like there's so much change obviously, and you bring in Utah and BYU and Arizona, which I mean obviously BYU and Arizona are top 5 teams as of right now, but just compare the competition level, I guess, and the amount of hatred, because it's hard for me to hate somebody like Utah and BYU because
they hate BYU. They're nice kids,
exactly.
man.
They are nice kids, but also they've been around for 2 years. Like with Mizzou, like I hated them, right? In Nebraska, and everybody who has left, it's just a little different now. I guess talk about the competitive fire against some of these teams and how it's kind of taken away some big rivalries too.
Yeah, I think it's mostly a rivalry thing. I don't think the competitiveness has dropped much. I think the teams that are in the Big 12 are still good teams. They can compete. Like you mentioned, Arizona and BYU being top 5. You're always going to have a good Houston and Baylor teams. Obviously, us playing against K-State is always a good game.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be competitiveness in the Big 12. I think that's what makes the Big 12 the Big 12, are the competitive teams that are in it. Those rivalry games, though, obviously, you miss those. I'm sure there was a few in Texas between A&M or Texas Tech.
For sure.
It's just the Texas is
Almost
of the
bedlam,
world.
like OU and Oak State.
Exactly. So us in Missouri, us in K-State, like those games meant something to the people who were fans behind it. And so that sucks. It sucked. I played in the last Missouri game when they were in the Big 12, and I remember the energy behind that, and like, the talk behind it, and just the competitiveness and the want to win that game, understanding like anytime we play them after this, it's like a scrimmage or it's not going to really matter. Like this is it. So like, yeah, like that. I think that part of the competitiveness is gone because you want to have that. I think it makes it fun for the fans.
Sure.
It makes it fun for the week. You got to play these guys with the students and the school and everybody that's around it. But some good teams in the Big 12 still.
Yeah, 100%. And weirdly, I find myself kind of rooting for some of the OGs. Like if like Oak State is playing against
for sure,
Arizona, I'll be like, give me Oak State. Like they stuck around. Like we've been with them forever.
I might do that too subconsciously now that you say that. Like I might do that too now.
Some of the you're like you see Iowa State. Like I don't like Iowa State by any means, but if they're playing BYU, I'm like,
go K-State, right? I'm like K-State too.
Right?
Yeah, I've seen myself doing that a few times actually, which is makes that's nasty.
Yeah,
but
no, I know it's something about.
K-State
I mean,
versus BYU, go K-State.
Yeah, there's a little bit of nostalgia there, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, don't clip that out, by the way. Tyshawn Taylor saying go K-State. Don't
make it.
Let's cut that.
Either.
No,
don't make it the fucking clip it. Either.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I have some questions about your NBA career. I had a female friend of mine. I'm just gonna get this out of the way. She wanted me to ask you about Chris Humphries because you were playing with the Nets when he was also playing with the Nets, and when he either got married or divorced or either both with Kim Kardashian.
He was getting divorced at that time.
What was your he was getting divorced. What were some of your memories of him and kind of like that? Because like that's obviously like high profile stuff that you're around.
Yeah. I mean, I was in the NBA, so this shit was high profile with everybody, but like Kim Kardashian is so.
That's like the highest of the profiles.
People wanted to talk to him about it. He just used to. I remember like anytime he would play a good game and people wanted to interview him, he'd be like, "I know they're gonna ask me questions." It's like, I just had 20 points and they're gonna ask me about her. He used to do shit like that, and I just remember it because I didn't really talk to him a bunch.
Yeah.
But like I remember he always would be just like, "They're gonna ask me questions about her." But he was a good dude. He treated me good. I was a rookie the year I played with him. So he treated me good. I hung out with him in LA a couple times when we would go on road trips and shit like that, went out to eat and stuff like that. He was a cool dude. Just a regular dude. Like,
sure.
He's a hooper, yeah.
That's nice. That's nice to hear. Well, I'm glad I got that out of the way. I wanted to ask you about another.
Thanks.
Yeah,
random.
Yeah, I know.
I talk about this motherfucker.
I know. I was asked to ask you that, so I was like, all right, I'll get it out of the way.
He was a good hooper too. Like he could play. I think his persona, he was like a preppy white boy. So
sure.
In the NBA, that's just like kind of different.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So people thought he was like soft and would like try to like, but he could play. He could hoop. He could shoot the basketball. He was athletic. I had one of my better NBA games when he was in the game with me. Like, so for a stretch when I played really good, and that's like clipped on YouTube and stuff, one of very few of the NBA games I played well in or played in, he was in the game with me. So like,
Nice.
he's a good player, and I yeah.
Well, I want to ask you about another one of your teammates, obviously KU legend Paul Pierce,
Yeah,
right? He was
truth.
that was your last year with the Nets. He was also there. Did you have any conversations with him just about, being a Jayhawk in the league? And I mean, just did he kind of take you
Hell
under his
yeah.
wing, or
He gave me his per diem. So like,
Really?
we would go on the roads, right? And so like, when you go on the road, you travel. They give you an envelope when you get on the plane. So let's say we go to California, which he loved because he's from Cali. So we would go in Cali, and we were an East Coast team. So we would go to Cali for, let's say, 10 days.
Sure.
Probably get like $2,500 or some shit like that, $3,000, and he would just give it to me. Like, he would just like, here, you got that shit, bro. And I'd be like,
I mean,
damn.
he doesn't need it, right?
No, and I was a rookie, so like, I definitely needed it.
Yeah.
And he would just do that every trip.
That's
every
awesome.
Trip. He was good. We talked about, we definitely talked about Kansas a bunch. He hadn't been. I remember at that point. I don't even know if he's coming back since then, honestly. But at that point, he hadn't been back for a while. So he's like, man, he's always. I got to get back to Rock Chalk, man. I got to get back to Rock Chalk. Like, he never came back. Paul, come back. Paul, we miss you, bro.
Yeah, come
see
back.
the folk, man. Come see the people, man. Nah,
Yeah.
but he was one of my favorite teammates. Super cool. He was at the end of his career too, so he wasn't like. He was still competitive, but he was just having a good time. He was just enjoying the last few years of his career, I think, just chilling. But I remember one of my favorite moments that I've had in the NBA is when that trade happened into my second year, and Paul and Kevin Garnett, and I think Jason Terry got traded from Boston to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They had the whole team fly out to like Malibu to meet them, and we sat down and we ate and we smoked cigars and we kicked it, and I'm just like, bro, I'm fucking sitting here smoking cigars with Paul Pierce,
I know, yeah.
Kevin Garnett, Jason Terry, and Darren Williams, Joe Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, I was looking around this room like, this shit's crazy.
Life's
bro.
pretty good, right?
Yeah, I was like, this is crazy, bro. I was just watching these niggas on the tube like yesterday. This is crazy. That was one of my favorite moments for sure.
That's awesome.
I think Paul and KG hooked that up, so
For sure,
shout out to him for that.
That's really cool. Well, yeah, Paul Pierce, come back to Lawrence. Check out a
Come back to
game at Allen
Rock
Fieldhouse,
Chalk,
man.
man.
Yeah, come back to Rock Chalk. I got one more real question for you, and then one kind of a hypothetical for you. TBT. I mean, it's my favorite part of the summer.
Yeah,
I
mine
think because there's no basketball going on, and Kansas fans can tune in and see all of their favorite guys.
About that shit today, actually. I got a text about it
Oh,
today.
really? Yeah.
the
So
guy-
that's what I was gonna say. Are you coming back as a coach and as you were the general manager last year, right?
I was
Or-
everything because I ended
Sure.
up playing too. And
Sure,
that
right,
was one
yeah.
of the game, so I was.
Well, you were injured for a little bit.
Yeah, that's
right?
why I didn't play
Sure,
mostly.
sure.
I usually get injured around the summer because I don't play no basketball during the winter. And then I'll try to play basketball when all my friends come back from overseas.
That's
I'm
when
like,
you
yeah,
have
I can
scheduled
play.
injuries. Yeah.
Hamstring,
Yeah. Sure.
quad.
Of
I'm
course.
like, God damn.
Right.
So that's usually how my summer goes
Yeah.
anyway. It was my Achilles 2 years ago. It was like, yeah, I just been getting banged up. But I will be a part of it somehow. I'm just not
Sure
to what capacity. But I got a text message about it today about it potentially being in Kansas City again. Cause
That's awesome,
It was
yeah.
a good turnout. That was great for us. So we enjoyed that. But I always enjoy that. I enjoy the competitiveness in the summer, being
Yeah.
able to play real hoops in the summertime.
Are you reaching out to guys, being like,
Yeah,
you're
already.
the team?
Yeah,
like,
no, already. But a lot of those guys that I'm reaching out to are playing overseas, so they're on different times. It's kind of hard to plan out their summers because they don't really know where they're going to be, what they're
Sure.
going to be doing. So it's tricky, which is sometimes why we don't always get the players that Kansas fans are requesting and want. But, yeah, I'll be a part of it. I think that the pool of people that we're able to have on the team this year is a lot bigger.
Yeah.
You got guys like Dewan. You got guys like Zeke again.
True.
My dark horse, Devontae Graham. If you're watching, son, you're
That'd be fun.
eligible.
Yeah, but say he's not.
Devontae, Frank, and Dewan are the 3 point guards that I want. If I get either one of those guys, I won't play. I'll coach and let those guys run up and down.
Nice.
But those are the 3 guards that I would love to have. And then obviously, Thomas Robinson, Doak.
Yeah.
You got guys
Doak would
like
be
Jeff
great.
Withy. You got guys like David McCormick for bigs. Our wing guys are endless. Like, you
Yeah.
got an endless amount of guys. It's just hard trying to get guys to want to play hoops in the summertime because they've been playing all year, and that's their only
Sure.
time to kind of take it easy, chill with families, do that type of stuff. So I appreciate all the guys that do commit. Obviously, I don't hold any hard feelings and always reach out to the same guys who tell me no the last few summers because it's like, you're part of this. You know, you're Kansas, and so that's what we want. So
you extend the offer.
For sure. It's a fun event though. We always have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I certainly love the TBT and looking forward to it again. I got one more question for you. I thought of this as I was sitting over there. The 2012 national championship game is one of my fondest memories, but also one of my most heartbreaking memories.
Hurts, bro.
I know.
It hurts. It's like such a good, sad moment.
Yeah.
Like, it's like one of them things where you're just like, damn, that was good to be there.
I know. Which, like, Grant, like that was such a good Kentucky team. Though. Like, you can't blame them. But I was thinking about this. I want to know your perspective on this because obviously Tyrell had the whole starting five of his teammates, and you already did that on your podcast too. I'm gonna kind of like do the exact opposite. If you could take one player from the Bill Self era and put it on that 2012 team to ensure you guys win, who's it gonna be?
That's a good ass question, bro.
I'm
trying to think about what we needed for the team. So this is not.
Right.
This is probably not even going to be the best Bill Self coach player. It's going to
Sure.
be specifically what I think we needed for that team.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I love our starting five, and I really like our starting five a lot against everyone in his starting five that he's coached. And I tell them that to their face. The 08 team, I've told them this. I tell them to their face. I really like our starting five because T-Rob and Jeff anchored the inside so well.
Yeah.
And then Travis and Elijah are like three of my favorite people.
Of course.
Or two of my favorite people and teammates. And Elijah was so good for us late that year that it was just like, I would never want to replace him. We had like a fucking, he's about to throw that. Oh my God, I got to go get it type of like connection. Like he's going to throw that. I got to go get it. So it was like, I don't know. And Travis was I don't know that I would. This is hard. This is a hard question.
You can keep it the same. I mean,
but I also don't want to be stupid.
Sure.
Keep Langford out there. There's all these people out there. I don't want to be dumb now.
Yeah, like Andrew Wiggins and Joel Embiid. There's like some good players,
I'm a hooper, but I wouldn't even take any of them. They had good NBA careers, but I wouldn't switch their Kansas careers for any of the guys that I just named.
It's fair.
But I'm going to be honest, right? I'm not even going to switch. I'm not even going to pick. There was a guy that was sitting on that bench that couldn't play because he was ineligible. That if he was playing, I think we win. Ben McLemore.
Sure. Yeah.
He was on that team. And if we had Ben, so maybe Ben starting, Travis coming off the bench, or maybe Elijah starting with, like maybe we switched it up a little bit. But he was on that team. He was practicing every day, practicing against us every day. He made us better because we had to guard him every day in practice. So we had to go against other good players. Travis had guarded Ben all day. I guarded Ben all day. And he was that good, which we got to see a year later. But, I don't know that I
forgot that he was on that team.
Yeah, him and
crazy.
Jamari Traylor. But if I could just pick one, I would just say if he was eligible to play, I think we win. He was that good of a player and would have made that big of an impact as far as stretching the floor, opening the floor for me and T-Rob, because I like to penetrate T-Rob's in the post, and then being able to kick it out to him and Elijah would open the floor up so much for us. His explosion, catching lobs, like again, and Trav did that well. Trav played that position well, but having both of them would have been elite.
For sure.
Elite. So yeah, just Ben and Jamari was on that team too, so throw him in there too. If we had both of those guys, we win.
I like that answer. Just open up the bench for guys who can't. Hey, I like
anybody
that.
that don't think I'm a good teammate, listen to that answer.
That's a
I'm
good.
not trading my boys for nobody, and I love all of those guys.
That's
right?
good.
Like, I think. Like I said, keep Langford. You got the Andrews. You got the Joels. You got the Frank Masons. You got the Vontaes. Like, you got all these great players, but I know I went to battle with these guys, bro.
Sure.
I only watched them guys from afar. I went to battle with these guys, so I know 100% what they're capable of, and I wouldn't trade them. We got to the farthest point you can get, and I don't even know if that was the best team that I've been on. But the way we played together, the shit that we had to go through together is what made it like that. So I don't know that I would trade that.
That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense. Best team you've been on, I think, is probably one with the Morris twins, but that's just me.
Yeah, it was my sophomore year when we had me, Xavier Henry, both Morris twins, T-Rob, Cole, Sharon, Elijah.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Travis,
that was just like
Mario
insane.
Little, fucking 7 pros on that team, bro. Like, that team was amazing, and we lost in the first round.
Yeah. Yeah, that one stings still. Trust me. I mean, I don't feel your pain as much as you probably do, but I still feel it as a little Kansas fan. I still feel it
slowly every year, a little bit every year.
Time heals all wounds, I guess. Tyshawn, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. Thanks so much. Coming up, more Rock Chalk Sports after this on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City.
I'm DJ Withers, and you watching KansasNation.com.
Welcome back into Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. Hey, guys, want to give a quick shout-out to Game Day Men's Health. Want to talk to all the men listening right now. How are you feeling these days? You know, or are you ready to take on the world and you wake up every day with low energy, or you got the drive to go to work? Maybe that's kind of fading away, or go to the gym or take care of your family. If you do have that energy, that's great, but there's a lot of guys who it does become a little bit of an issue for them, and it kind of turns into a daily struggle. If you're tired, you have a lack of energy, motivation, lack of sex drive, hard time keeping weight off. No matter how hard you work out, it's normal, right? As we age, It's obviously comes with age. It happens to a lot of guys. It's, not something a lot of guys want to talk about. But you can create a new normal where you're functioning like you used to in your younger years. At Game Day Men's Health in Lawrence, they're here to get you back in the game. Whether you are chasing peak performance, whether you're reigniting intimacy or just want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence keeps you going with customized, expert-backed care. 50% of men going to have low testosterone by the time they're 40, and 60% of all men will struggle with some kind of erectile dysfunction at some point in their lives. So you don't have to, feel embarrassed about it. There's good news, right? You don't have to put up with it anymore. Game Day Men's Health, they treat a number of different common issues with men, like low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, weight loss issues, peptide, vitamin therapies, and so much more. The second you walk into Game Day Men's Health, you will feel the sports lounge vibe, man cave-like setting. Is a cozy man cave environment. You'll be greeted by a fun and energetic staff. And their signature 3-step process involves a quick blood draw into house labs to analyze your results in 20 minutes, and then followed by a thorough consultant with a provider specialist to explore the myriad of programs and treatments to get you to the top of the game. The first visit is going to take less than an hour, and the best part is it's completely complimentary. There's no cost whatsoever. It's free to go get yourself checked out on this first visit. Life's short, so make decisions today to revitalize your well-being, bring the spark back in your relationship, and take your health up to unimaginable heights. So Google Game Day Men's Health Lawrence, Game Day Lawrence, Kansas, to book your free consulting. You can call 785-222-4272. And go ahead and mention this ad while you're there. You might even see me on their television. So shout out to Game Day Men's Health. Also shout out to Crown Automotive as well. Great partners, great car dealership here in town. They will get you in the right car, the car of your dreams, with a number of different new models from Toyotas and Volkswagens to used models as well. They'll make sure to get you in the right car that fits your needs. Time for the sports stock market. Ding, 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 ding. It's Friday at 5 o'clock. You know what that means. Like I said, this is a segment where I tell you what stocks are up and what stocks are down in the world of sports. I want to start here because this is relatively big news. Stocks down on Tua Tagovailoa. Benched. Riding the bench. I think this is unfair because if you're going to bench him, probably bench him after the Browns game where the Miami Dolphins lost 31-6 against a horrible Browns team back in October. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they kind of went on a little bit of a winning streak, right? They beat Atlanta. They lost to the Falcons. Then they beat Buffalo, Washington, the Saints, and then the Jets. 2 out of the 4 are respectable. Right, I think beating the Saints and the Jets, that was, you kind of assumed that was going to happen. Didn't have great stats in those games, and then in the last game on Monday night, they lost 28-15 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He went 22 of 28 for 253 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception in that game, but close to the highest QBR that he's had all season long. I guess his QBR was only 12, but his rating was 113.2. And now they're going to bench him after a loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers. With his replacement, it's going to be Quinn Ewers. Apparently, Zach Wilson was not thrilled about it. Zach Wilson's also on the Miami Dolphins as of right now. But I think this is a little unfair. I like Tua. Now, should Tua probably hang it up because of all the head injuries? Yes. The man has a lot of head injuries, and it's not looking good for the future of his well-being. I want him to be healthy, obviously, but I still don't think it's fair to bench him, especially after he had a stretch of games where they won and he was bad, and then they had a game against the Steelers where they lost and he was kind of okay. He was good. He went over 250, right? 22 of 28. That's still really good. But you know what? The tides are turning in Miami, and Quinn Ewers is now going to be at the helm. I'm going to be excited to watch Quinn Ewers play. It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, I was super high on him in college, and he kind of fell down. Was he like a 6th round draft pick, something like that? 5th, 6th round draft pick. Nobody really thought much of it. But he's going to be able to get the start and kind of prove his worth. Is this the end of the Tua Tagovailoa era for the Miami Dolphins? I am not at large to say, but it certainly seems like it. So maybe we might see Tua not in the teal and orange anymore, which is going to be weird to see. But yeah, sucks for him. Again, I still do like Tua Tagovailoa. I think he's a good quarterback. He's fine. I'll say he's fine. He's not good. He's fine. Stocks up on raising your kids right. We have a video for this one. So apparently in elementary school in Tennessee, they had their Christmas pageant. As you know, a lot of elementary schools have their Christmas pageant where they sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer and, a lot of reindeer songs, a lot of Christmas songs. But at elementary school in Tennessee, they're in the heart of Tennessee. This is Vols country, right? So they start singing Rocky Top. Oh, Rocky Top, Tennessee. And something interesting happened. There was a little boy who was wearing a Georgia Bulldogs polo during this, and he refused to sing Rocky Top. Elijah, let's play this clip. So I love this. I love this so much because it brings me joy, right? In a world of college athletics that's changing so much and fandom is changing and it's turning more commercialized and players are being paid and all this stuff, there's still rooted deep inside of you a hatred of other teams. Yes, the fandom is still there, but more importantly, the hatred is still there, which I love, right? If I was in elementary school and you made me do the Wabash Cannonball, you know what I would do? I would not show up. I would be outside with a picket sign saying, no more Wabash Cannonball. So shout out to this kid. I love this. Arms crossed, just nope, not doing it. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite things I've ever seen. So whoever his parents are, they raised him right, man. Not that I don't like Tennessee or not that I like the Georgia Bulldogs, but I like to see this out of children of their fandom kind of taking over and putting a foot down, I guess, sticking up to the man, if you will. The man being the music teacher who made them sing Rocky Top. Stocks up on balloons. This is insane. So there's a man on Twitter who is essentially doing the Lord's work. His name is David Cavucci. He's the editor-in-chief of FOIA Ball, which is Freedom of Information Act. And he's utilizing this to the fullest extent and one of the funnier extents that I've ever seen, because his latest deep dive is how much money these colleges are spending on balloons. That's right. There's a whole graph for this and everything. It's one of the cooler things. So he has been just contacting schools using the Freedom of Information Act, not to try to get anything like any dirt. He's just wanting to know how much these schools spend on balloons in a year. And it might shock you, right? It started off, said the University of Arkansas, they spent $36,000 on balloons last year, which if you look at the balloon arches, if you will, looks pretty great. And so he broke this down in terms of the top schools how much they do spend on their balloons. Texas, what are you doing? The state of Texas is amazing, right? And North Carolina's there too. So I'll start off with NC State. I'll start off with the top five. All right, 5 and 4 are NC State and UNC, respectively. NC State, they spent $44,900 on balloons this year alone. North Carolina, NC State spent $43,000. North Carolina spent $48,700 on balloons, and then it goes to the Texas schools. Yeah, A&M, Texas Tech, and Texas. A&M, they spent $55,500 on balloons. It's a lot of money. Texas Tech, they spent $56,000 on balloons, and then the University of Texas. This is where I think it goes too far. I'm a fan of balloons. As you know, I'm a fan of pageantry, right? I think balloons fit into that realm. I think this is a little too much. The University of Texas, they spent $170.5 thousand on balloons this year alone. I'll say it. Hot take. That's too much money on balloons. $50,000, fine. $170,000 on balloons alone. I have watched a lot of Texas football games in my life. I've watched a few Texas football games this year. Do you know what I haven't seen whenever I watched a Texas football game? Balloons. Where are these balloons going? They run out of a tunnel. There's no balloons. There's not balloons on the sideline. You spend $170,000 on balloons. I would expect to see a lot of balloons on the game broadcast, but no. They're using them for fancy booster dinners, students coming on visits, etc. So shout out to David Cavucci for doing the hardest piece of investigative journalism that I've seen in a long time, right? Great job. Excellent job. This is what the Freedom of Information Act was made for, to figure out how much schools are paying for balloons. Stock is up on coaching. Doug Gottlieb. Yes, Doug Gottlieb, host of the Doug Gottlieb Show on Fox Sports, and also head men's basketball coach for the University of Green Bay. We saw him this year. Has decided to step away from the microphone. At least the radio microphone, as he was made available to the media after a loss for Green Bay. He made the announcement and said, hey, he's going to step away from the radio show to focus on being the head basketball coach for the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. I like this, by the way. And I have, if you've been following along, I have some beef with Doug Gottlieb, specifically for this reason. He also, early in his career, had like a personal vendetta against KU where he just didn't like KU, and part of that was because the shorts on backwards, I think, subconsciously for him. But he always kind of talks trash. He's gotten better, right? But he had the nerve, the gall, dare I say, to think that he could be a Division I head coach and still maintain a 3-hour radio show every day for Fox Sports Radio. And now he's stepping away, and I think that's fine, right? My main concern about Doug Gottlieb was he was going to be a bad basketball coach, and these kids deserve better. These kids deserve a coach who's going to be there every single day, and you can reach out to him every single day, and he's not going to be doing a national radio show because he needs to be in the spotlight. So I'm glad that he's doing this. But he did say he's still going to be doing his podcast. So, look, baby steps. He's getting better. Maybe Green Bay will win more than 4 games because they literally won 4 games last year. I was talking to Sean about this because, you know, we're on the radio, so we're as qualified as Doug Gottlieb to coach Division I college basketball, apparently. Look, I know ball, right? I talk about it a lot. I played basketball in high school. I'm the leader in three-point percentage at my high school, 100%. I went 1 for 1. I think that I could coach a team to more than 4 wins, or at least 4 wins. I'm glad that he's stepping away. He should have done this a long time ago. When he took the job, he should have done this. But instead, he had to be in the spotlight. He did not want to give up his show because he wanted to be on the air for 3 hours a day because he loves attention. And now he's finally understanding that, hey, these kids need him as a head coach. So, look, power to Doug Gottlieb. I'm glad he's doing that. I'm glad he's stepping away. He's still going to be doing the podcast, though. So if you need your daily fix of Doug Gottlieb, he's got you. Stocks up on the NBA Cup. This is interesting. So this is per Myron Metcalf on ESPN. Also, Adam Silver went on Amazon Prime because they're doing NBA games on Amazon Prime now, I guess. He went on and said that the future of the NBA Cup championship potentially could be played at, quote, some storied college arenas. Now, a lot of programs are running with this and saying, oh, hey, that's pretty fun. A lot of KU fans are even throwing their hat in the ring. I know that Shams Charania came out and said that, Duke was one of the ones that are in conversation, at least, Also, he said they're kind of contemplating it, right? There's no decisions in terms of whether or not they will play at some storied college arenas. I think this would be great. I think, the Dean Dome, the Carrier Dome, Cameron Indoor, Rupp Arena. There's a lot of places that I think would be really cool to host an NBA Cup. Allen Fieldhouse, I think, would be awesome to host an NBA Cup. I just don't, for the life of me, see them. I'm okay with this, again, as long as they don't mess with the court. Because if you've ever watched an NBA Cup game, your eyes will bleed because the court is either neon green or bright red or gray or blue. They do that weird thing, and it's usually hosted in Las Vegas. I think it'd be cool, but do not mess with the court. I think it'd be kind of cool to see, the Thunder play the Spurs at Allen Fieldhouse. That'd be great, but keep the Jayhawk. Keep James Naismith Court the way that it is. Don't change the court. I don't see Kansas agreeing to change their court either. I don't see that happening. But, it would be great for exposure, and, I think a lot of people would love it. So, and, it's an opportunity for a lot of people in this area of the nation to, watch some NBA basketball, right? You live in Kansas City, you're probably never going to watch an NBA game unless you make a trip to go out there and try it. So, I do like that, but again, don't change the court. If you're going to do it at Allen Fieldhouse, don't change the court. I could see Dean Dome changing the court. I could see Rupp Arena changing the court. I don't change Allen Fieldhouse. Don't change James Naismith Court. Keep it the way it is. Stocks down on Cinderella stories. I said I'd get into this. So, a couple of quotes here. I'm going to start with Joel Klatt. Joel Klatt, he's a football podcaster, writer kind of guy. He said this about the college football playoffs. He said, "We don't want Cinderellas. We want the best teams playing each other at the end." And then he goes on to say, he even said, this is a hot take. He said, "The NCAA basketball tournament is a joke. It's the dumbest tournament and the least fair tournament in all of sports." Joel, is your brain filled with gravel? Are you the dumbest human being in the world? Because you're in the running. What an egregious statement to say something like this. The college basketball tournament is maybe the most fair. You have 68 teams. What do you want? Like do you want, the 6th or 7th or 8th or 9th best SEC or Big 12 teams or Big 10 teams getting in, as opposed to, the St. Mary's, the UMBCs, the Vermonts? It doesn't make sense. What do you it is a baseless statement to say that the NCAA basketball tournament is the least fair tournament in all of college sports. In fact, I think it is the most fair in all of college athletics. Because what happens? You get a George Mason every now and then, but that's fun to watch. Why don't you like watching Cinderellas? That's the beauty of sports. You're so money-minded that you want all of the big boy schools with all the big boy money and all the big boy TV deals making it to the Elite Eight, Final Four, and National Championship. because that's what pays the bills for you. You don't like fun? St. Peter's went on that run a few years ago, right? When Kansas won the national championship. Florida Gulf Coast. People are still talking about that. This is good for those schools. There are still kids who are going to Florida Gulf Coast right now because of that run. Their enrollment goes up. George Mason's enrollment went up. Jim Larinaga became a legend in college basketball coaching because he went to a Final Four with George Mason back in 2006. UMBC, I can only imagine that their enrollment went up. Fairleigh Dickinson. It's good for do you want to see these schools? Do you want to see the schools fold? Do you want them to just cut their basketball programs? And, I mean, at what point, where does it stop? Because there's two above the rest. I will admit it. It's Big Ten and the SEC. At what point are you going to stop? Are you going to eventually say, you know what? We don't even need the ACC. You know what? We don't even need the Big 12. Let's just make it Big Ten versus SEC. Actually, you know what? SEC is probably better, so just make it the SEC. Just whoever wins the SEC championship, give them the national championship. Why not? You're a joke, Joel Klatt. Also, Nick Saban said this. He said this is comparing G5 schools in college football playoff to AAA teams in the MLB. He says, look, will we allow the winner of a AAA baseball league in the World Series playoff? That's the equivalent of what we do when JMU gets in the college football playoff and Notre Dame doesn't. I mean, I don't want to start any stuff here, but it is what it is. If there's anybody who's probably the most biased person, I would say it's probably Nick Saban because of his time spent in the SEC with LSU, with Alabama. Sure, he was at Michigan State back in the day, but you think he remembers that? No, that was a stepping stone for him. Do you know what the SEC does every year? Around November, Alabama plays the Citadel. Georgia will play Southern University. They schedule these cupcakes in the middle of the year because they think they're holier than thou. And they need a little bit of a break because the SEC is so much better in football. You're scheduling AAA teams. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. JMU won their conference. The rules say a couple of G5 schools get in. It's the highest ranked G5, or it's the highest ranked conference champions. Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked if Tulane and JMU go on a little bit of a run here. That's all I'm saying. So, Joe Klatt and Nick Saban and Kirk Herbstreit too. You guys can go kick rocks. Last one here, because I know we're getting close on time. Stocks up on hitting bombs. Royal Liverpool Golf Course. They've held the British Open before, one of the most famous golf courses in the world. Had to be shut down this week because there was a construction company out there doing some drainage work, and they stumbled across a live German artillery shell from World War II. Talk about hitting bombs, you know what I mean? Anyway, this is insane. This is what happens. Like over in Europe, you hear about this constantly. They're like, oh yeah, no, we found this like crazy artillery shell. They did manage to get it out and take it to a field somewhere, and then do a controlled explosion. So it is out of there. But Tiger Woods won a British Open on that course while he was playing over a live bomb. It's just absolutely insane to me. So anyway, that's the sports stock market for today. Coming up after this, going to be doing some NFL game picks. Going to be rolling you through the entire NFL slate in a rapid fire motion. On Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, and ESPN Kansas City.
I'm Kenny Logan Jr., and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Welcome back in Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. Daniel Courtwright here. I want to give a big shout out to Game Day Men's Health. They're here in Lawrence. Guys, got to get yourself checked out. I understand, white coat phobia is an actual thing. I always hated going to the doctors, right? It made me nervous. I was always afraid they were going to tell me something I didn't want to know. And Game Day Men's Health does a great job at making a plush man cave-like setting. They have a TV up there playing SportsCenter and our show and a lot of different magazines. And it's a really cool environment. So just go and check it out and get yourselves checked out because it's so important for you to go get yourselves checked out. A lot of guys, they put it off until the very end. You know what I mean? I'm guilty of it. I'm sure a lot of you guys are too. Just, I'll be fine. That's the common catchphrase for a lot of guys. But be sure to go get yourselves checked out because 50% of men they get low T by the end of 40. By the time you're 40, 60% of men they experience erectile dysfunction at some point in their lives. So go check them out just to make sure that all the gears are turning, all the lights are turning on and off. You know what I mean? Just go get yourself checked out. First one's free. They're going to do a blood draw, get your results in less than 20 minutes, and then one of their practicers is going to give you a full diagnosis in terms of kind of what's going on with you. You might be good. Right? You might be good. You might be good to go. Also want to give a quick shout out to Crown Automotive, Miles Schneer and Company, a great partner here in Lawrence, down in my neck of the woods, as Sean likes to say, on South Iowa Street. They do an excellent job at making sure that you get in the right car to fit your needs. A lot of new cars, Toyotas, Volkswagens, some of the best cars on the market, and a lot of used cars as well. So whatever you need to fit your lifestyle, they've got the car, friendly service. They have a service center there as well. So be sure to check out Crown Automotive here in Lawrence. Time for some NFL game picks. Haven't done NFL game picks in quite a while. A lot of basketball talk, a lot of college football talk. And, we're getting to the point where right now, a lot of playoff implications are up for debate, and a lot of incentives are up for debate as well. I have some fun prop bets that I think I want to get in on. Because towards the end of the year, a lot of the coaches understand this, a lot of the players understand this, so they like to force a lot of stuff. So let's go ahead and get started with tomorrow's game. Eagles, they're 7.5-point favorites at the Washington football team. The Commies, if you will, 44.5 is the over-under. I do like the Commanders in this game. Marcus Mariota's been playing some all right ball, man. And Deebo Samuel's been okay. Obviously, you wanted to see more out of the Commanders this year after going on an excellent run. And just a lot of injury bugs, man. Terry McLaurin and Jane Daniels was going to be appointment television, and unfortunately didn't get to see that a whole lot this year. I do like the Commanders at home. These NFC East games, NFC East games can get really, really tricky sometimes, interdivisional, and the Eagles haven't been the Eagles, right? They won the Super Bowl last year, but they haven't lived up to that standard yet. So I think I like the Commanders in this one. Eagles are riding high off of a big-time win last week. I like the Commanders here. Also, incentive-wise, Deebo Samuel, he needs over 100 yards. He needs 96 yards to be exact to receive one incentive. I believe it's around $500,000. And then he needs 5 receptions to get around $250,000. So I like Deebo over 100 yards. That's going to be my biggest prop of the day. It's plus 1040. The money's crazy on this one. They're going to try to force feed Deebo Samuel. 5 receptions at minus 124. That one seems relatively easy as well. So I like that. I like that number there. They're going to try to force feed Deebo. Keep him happy. Keep him in Washington. And then also on Saturday, you got Packers. They're plus 1.5 at the Bears. 46.5 is the over-under. Caleb Williams is playing some ball, man. Bears look a lot better than what we sort of anticipated. I still think the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl. That's my dark horse. I don't even know if it's a dark horse. I think I picked them in the early part of the year, and they were really good. And Jordan Love's been fantastic, and they have a lot of good pieces around them. Obviously, Matt LaFleur is an excellent coach. I like the Packers to win this game outright. It's plus 1.5 underdog. I'm going to take the money line. Yes. No. I take the point. Give me Packers, plus 1.5. Over, under 46.5. This one's going over, folks. It's going to be probably cold and windy in Chicago. I don't care. I think a lot of points are going to be scored. Sunday, kicking off with the Bills. They are a 10.5-point favorite at the Browns, 41.5. This game's going to be interesting. I think that Myles Garrett does get another sack, and he's going to break the record for most sacks in a season. And I didn't have this one written down. I probably should. Let's see. Myles Garrett, there's no prop for it yet. But Myles Garrett's going to get a sack. I do like the Bills on this line. The Browns are horrible. Are they still rolling out Shedeur Sanders? I haven't been watching Browns games because I enjoy my life. I think they're still rolling out Shedeur Sanders. Bills are playing some good ball right now. I like the 10.5 big line, but I still like it. I'm going to go under 41.5, though. I don't think it's going to be a super high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a blowout by the Bills. This game has like 31-3 written all over it. Dawson Knox needs a touchdown for an incentive. Around $250,000. Dawson Knox, anytime. Love that. Chargers, they're plus 1.5 at the Cowboys. 49.5 is the over-under. Chargers are going to win this one because John Harbaugh is a sicko and he wants to get in the playoffs. I don't think they're for sure in yet. Cowboys have a lot to prove as well. Cowboys are a relatively good team. I think the Chargers pull this one out in Jerry World. Over in 49.5. I think I like the over in this one. I think it's going to be a lot. Also, Keenan Allen needs 3 receptions in order to get one of his incentives. Keenan Allen plus 3 receptions. Easy money. Buccaneers -3 at the Panthers. I'm going to go relatively quick with this one. I like the Bucs here. I'm always going to fade the Panthers, even though they've been playing some all right ball. They've been exceeding expectations. I like the Bucs here. Rico Dowdle, though, anytime touchdown, he needs an incentive there. They're going to force feed him. Plus 130. Love those odds. Bengals -4.5 at the Dolphins. 47.5 over under. Bengals are horrible. So are the Dolphins. Give me the under in this game. Not going to touch the line because I have no idea what's going to happen. Joe Burrow's not having fun, as you know. Quinn Ewers is going to be starting for the Dolphins. I don't know if he's going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be bad. I don't know if he's going to be better than Tua. I know, you know what I know for a fact? Not a lot of points are going to be scored in this game. Under 47.5. Vikings -2.5 at the Giants. 43.5 is the over-under. J.J. McCarthy's getting a lot of heat. I like J.J. Give me 9. J.J. McCarthy -4.5 at the Giants. I don't see a way the Vikings lose this game or don't win it by more than 3. You know what I mean? Give me the over 43.5. I like the over there. Jets +6 at the Saints. Devin Neal, anytime touchdown. Lock it in. Guarantee. Man, early in the season, I was always fading the Saints. Now I'm always fading the Jets. Jets are +6. It's in New Orleans. I think the Jets are going to – I think the Saints are going to stomp them. I just don't see the Jets winning this game. Over under 40.5. Give me the under. Just don't see it being high scoring. That's going to be a snooze fest, by the way. I don't know if anybody's going to be watching that game. Jags at Broncos. Jags are a 3.5-point dog at the Broncos. I love the Broncos on this line. Give me the Broncos -3.5. They're playing some really good football as of right now. They've locked it in, the playoff spot, but I still think they're going to beat the Jags relatively handily. Not going to touch the over-under. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out. Don't know the weather out there. 3 o'clock games. Falcons -3 at the Cardinals. Falcons, love them on that line. I think the Falcons are a much better team than the Cardinals. Over-under is 48.5. I like the over. I don't think either defense is really impressing me, so I think a lot of points are going to be scored. Raiders, they're +14 at the Texans. I'm going to fade the Raiders here too, man. This is like a 17-point victory for the Texans. They are a good team, and the Raiders, they're still rolling out Kenny Pickett, who should be working at an Enterprise Rent-A-Car right now. So give me the Texans here. 38.5, which, by the way, the over is 38.5 and the line is 14.5. The sportsbooks hate the Raiders in this game. Give me the over because I think the Texans run up the score. Steelers +7 at the Lions, 52.5. This is kind of crazy to me. I don't really trust the Steelers. Lions are playing okay. I think I'm going to go with the under here, 52.5, excuse me. Seems like a super high number. So give me the Lions. And then Sunday Night Football, Pats +3 at the Ravens, 48.5. Hunter Henry is going to get 4 receptions for -133. That's an incentive for him. Mac Hollins is going to get a reception because that is an incentive for him as well. And then finishing off, Chiefs -3 at the Titans, 37.5. Gardner Minshew makes his debut as a starter for the Kansas City Chiefs. Hollywood Brown gets a touchdown, +450. That's an incentive. Dan Courtright special. Chiefs win. Chiefs cover. Over under 37.5. I think it's going to be a really disgusting game. So give me the under on that one as well. That's my NFL game picks for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hey, on Monday, I'm going to be previewing KU and Davidson. They're taking on the Davidson Wildcats Monday night here in Allen Fieldhouse. For Elijah Schmidt, running the operations, I'm Daniel Courtright saying thanks so much for listening to Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, and ESPN Kansas City.
What's up, everybody? Dan Peterson. Everybody go check out KansasNation.com.
Welcome back into Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. Elijah Schmidt running the operations. Really appreciate everything that he does. Time now to talk a little KU and Iowa State preview for women's basketball. They're tipping off Sunday at noon over in Ames. Really starting off with a tough matchup. Iowa State, they're a top 10 team. They have the number one scorer in the nation as of right now with Audie Crooks. She's averaging 27.8 points per game. I mean, you've seen her, all over the place. She has been dominant down low. Kansas is coming off of two really solid performances. They held their last two teams that they played to a combined 77 points, right? You saw them hold Denver to 38 points and then Haskell to 39 points. Kansas also hung 107 on Haskell. So really impressive performances in the last couple of games. And I think this is the perfect set of games to really get you prepared for a game like Iowa State. Like I said, they're a top 10 team. They're ranked 10th nationally in the AP poll. They have Audie Crooks, who, again, is just a dominant force down low. They have a number of different girls on the outside who can shoot it. Addie Brown shooting 47% from the three-point line. You see, Sydney Harris, who's averaging 35%. Kinsey Hare, she's shooting 51.1% from the three. So they can really attack you in sort of all phases of the game, right? You have Audie Crooks who can beat you down low, and then whenever you're double teaming her, she kicks it out for a three-pointer. That's what makes Iowa State so good is getting those paint touches and shooting those threes is really kind of their bread and butter, right? You don't see a lot of mid-range stuff out of Iowa State. Kansas coming into this game a little dinged up, right? We saw Reagan Williams in a knee brace. That's really unfortunate because, we're going to need all the help we can get down low. Jalea Davis still dealing with some lower leg injury, right? She was walking around in a walking boot against Haskell. Now, Coach Brandon said that Jalea is day-to-day as of right now, and hopefully she will get back in time for the Iowa State game because we're really going to need her, right? The Lily Meister down low has done an excellent job with a lot of dominant bigs, at least up to this point. Kansas right now, they're 10-2. Lily has done an excellent job in terms of getting rebounds, playing defense. She's been great on the offensive side of the ball, right? She had 14 points against Haskell, which was her career high. She's been right at that 11 to 12 line a bunch of different times. But in terms of pulling down those rebounds, she's been excellent as well. But you're going to need a lot of help, right? Nadira El-Tayeb, who is going to be coming off the bench, she did a really good job last year in terms of handling Audie Crooks early in the game. Now, Nadira, she got 2 fouls relatively quickly. But when she was out there for the Jayhawks guarding Audie Crooks, she did a really decent job in terms of kind of tampering her down on the offensive side of the ball. So you're going to need help down low specifically, right? And you can't roll out the same lineup you rolled out against Haskell with the starting lineup, right? Because you had Libby Fandel, who's not a 4. You had Keely Parks, who's not a 4. Samaya Nichols, who's a point guard. And Elle Evans, who's 6'3", but she plays the 3 spot. She's not big enough to, get down there and bang with the other girls down low, right? She's a sharpshooter, 3-point shooter. She can put the ball down on the court. But in terms of the mismatch between Elle and Audie Crooks is just exponential. In theory, you can have Elle come over and get in those passing lanes and deny any kind of post touches. She's got the length to be able to do that. But rolling Lily out there without a lot of help is going to be tough, right? So I would imagine you might have to take Keely and put her on the bench and put out Nadira just for a little bit more help down low on the defensive end of the ball to try to stop Audie Crooks because she has been unbelievable this year. Like I said, 27.8 points per game, only pulling down 6.1 rebounds per game. Addie Brown has really been the best rebounder for them with 9.6 rebounds, but they have 2 really solid players down low. Addie Brown also their second leading scorer with 14.5 points per game. So the post presence down low in the front court is really where Iowa State is their strongest, and that's where Kansas is not their strongest, right? You have your 2 power forwards who are your best defenders down low are both out with injuries with Reagan Williams and Jalea Davis. So the most important thing is getting Jalea back and getting Jalea healthy. I think that is going to be the biggest thing that you absolutely need for this game. So it's going to be a tough one. Obviously, starting off conference play against Iowa State could essentially be a pace setter for where this Kansas program's at. Kansas has only lost 2 games so far this year, and if Kansas is able to hang around with Iowa State, I think that it could mean, really great things for this Kansas squad. I mean, Kansas has the talent to be a ranked team and to make it to the NCAA tournament and essentially make a run, right? But it all starts here. Big 12 play against Iowa State up in Ames. Also wanted to mention KU Day. They do take on Davidson in men's basketball coming up on Monday. We'll be breaking that down on Monday, a full breakdown of the Davidson Wildcats. And then after that, KU basketball, men's basketball, they start Big 12 play in January against UCF. So really looking forward to that game. We will see you guys on Monday. For Elijah Schmidt, running the operations, I've been Daniel Courtwright saying thanks so much for listening to Rock Chalk Sports on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City.
Hey, what's up, Chuck Nation? Roby Dunga here, and make sure you check out the new KansasNation.com. Rock Chalk.